What we need is a mindset of learning as infrastructure in the business, decentralized, that can happen anywhere, anytime, where we give people the tools and we show them how to use the tools so that they can create their own cheap and dirty, but very quick and very effective and very relevant courses on the field, out there, wherever they interact with their relevant trainees, and roll it out. It's the only resources that matter in a company. It's the wealth of a company. It's the humans that build it and power the company. So we have to do our best to multiply that wealth, empower the people, and let them become the best versions of themselves.
Managing a global team is complex, but Deel makes it simpler with payroll, HR, IT, and compliance all in one place. That's why over 35,000 businesses trust Deel to hire, pay, and manage teams worldwide. See how Deel works at DEEL.com/NICKDAY. That's Deel.com/NickDay. Deel, your forever people platform. Hello and welcome back to the HR L&D podcast. I'm your host. My name is Nick Day. I'm the CEO at JGA Recruitment Group. We are specialist human resources recruiters. And today we're diving deep into a topic that I think every HR leader, every L&D leader should absolutely be paying close attention to, and that is learning as a growth lever. Joining me today to discuss this is Panos Siozos, who is CEO and co-founder of LearnWorlds, a leading platform that empowers businesses, educators, and enterprises to design and deliver modern learning experiences. Now, Panos has a PhD in educational technology, a background in computer science, and he's really passionate about transforming the way organizations think about learning. While most companies talk about learning, very few actually use it as a strategic driver of growth. And that's why I think it's going to offer real value today to my listeners. So we're going to explore exactly why learning is the growth lever most companies fail to pull. We're going to uncover as well companies, how you can use platforms like LearnWorlds, not just for training, but also to monetize expertise and future-proof organizations. Without further ado, Panos, welcome to the HR L&D podcast. How are you feeling?
Hi, Nick. Thanks for the intro. I'm super happy to be hosted here by you. Thank you.
Super happy to have you. So let's set the stage. A question I ask all of my guests, which is this: what do the words human resources mean to you?
It's the only resources that matter in a company. It's the wealth of a company. It's the humans that build it and power the company. So we have to do our best to multiply that wealth, empower the people, and let them become the best versions of themselves.
Absolutely. What a great place to start. Well, we want to talk about learning as a strategic lever. So I know you've said in some of your literature on your website and some of the talks and things you've done in the past that most companies underuse learning as a strategic growth lever. I wonder if you could just unpack that a little bit for us.
Yeah, happy to. Like, everybody pays lip service to learning and training. We all say that we do it, but we increasingly, in today's super fast-paced environment, we see organizations that have been left behind and kind of have this ritualistic training, year after year, perhaps some standard off-the-shelf material that's probably stay like 5 or 10 years back, which in a startup environment or in a tech environment, it's probably the same as being 100 years old. And they fail to follow the pace that their employees and the work environment out there requires. So, which means that if we are not empowering our people, we're losing talent, we're slowing down, we're missing the contextual knowledge that all the functions of a business require. So that's the internal aspect of missing out on what learning can offer, but also what we've seen starting from our organization and with many of the organizations that we're now helping is offering training externally. Customers, trainers, resellers, stakeholders, affiliates, anything, all the external stakeholders that the company might have. You need as a businessman, as an entrepreneur, to be in constant contact with them, to always keep them up to date about the products that you are selling, the services that you are selling, your processes, to empower and enablement. You might call it enablement, others call it training, whatever it might be the terminology in your line of business. But if you are failing to do that, if you offer poor services in onboarding, poor services in activation, if you don't explain the full value that your product or your service is delivering, you are leaving money on the table, you're losing customers, and then you try to throw bodies and people at problems like customer support, customer success, try to chase after people who are canceling instead of being proactive, training them, showing them the way of how they can be successful with whatever it is that you are offering in your line of business. And that's something that it pains us to see. That's something that even I know that it's difficult. Even a training organization and a knowledge-based business like ours sometimes fails to do in some businesses, but we're trying in some cases. But we're trying to have it top of the mind and help our customers do it at the best possible extent.
I like that because I think that often in the world of human resources, training L&D can be difficult to secure investment for because it's seen as just a cost. But you just outlined there some really interesting hidden costs of not doing it, not just internally in relation to that enablement piece, but also externally as well. I think that you raised quite a few examples. One is losing talent they don't feel they're invested in. The enablement piece means you might be losing sales because you're not quite able to articulate why it's a good proposition. And I think sometimes HR professionals don't quite know how to make the proposition to the C-suite or to those that hold the purse strings to say, hey, we need this investment. I know it's a cost, but it's an investment because if we invest this money, actually it will save us. It'll add value in these places. And these are the hidden costs. Are there any other hidden costs that you come across which, where organizations fail to really invest in learning because of some of these things? Or they just see it as a cost and they can't quite articulate to C-suite why there's value here?
Yeah, it's I fully agree with this. Learning and development is an investment that doesn't pay off in a week or in a month. Like sometimes business leaders, they have to take decisions very fast, always chasing the bottom line. People coming to you and say, okay, let's invest in that performance marketing thing. We add X dollars today and we get double X in 2 days. That doesn't work with training. You have to invest in the people. There's a long tail. This is also the old way of creating content and or delivering training is very expensive because you have all these rituals. You have to invest in the content. Creating content is a difficult thing. You have to have the knowledge experts. You have to add your structural design layer. You have to plan smart and engaging and interactive experiences. People cannot tolerate something that is not like that today. So if we continue doing it in the old way, spending months in order to create a learning module and then rolling it out to our employees and then waiting to see the ROI, this is really a very long-term investment. It's probably already obsolete by the time you have rolled it out. Knowledge now and experiences and skills and features and platforms, they run so fast that content has become a commodity. Usually it's already old the moment you hit publish, which means you have to be smart. You have to follow the content. You have to enable the content owners, the people who work in the different jobs, in the different roles, to be able to create their own content easily and without too much hassle, without having to have some huge process and some huge workflow, because these things cannot be sustainable anymore and are very expensive. I have talked to businesses who have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on creating learning material. In some cases, Hollywood grade videos, effects, and everything else. And by the time they roll it out, or by using an old school platform that is there to keep HR happy, just check a few boxes, this material is already old, or it cannot be consumed, or it is felt as like something that is very passive and doesn't fit with the way that modern employees are learning, and they want to be trained and they want to be treated in terms of the content. So this is why we believe that if we continue doing it like that, I understand that it's very, very difficult to ask for this investment, to ask to prove this kind of ROI. This is why we have to be smarter. We have to be smarter in how we create the content. We have to create context in situ, content in situ through the workers themselves. We have to empower them in order to do that. Again, it's not easy to create the content. So this is why we need AI. We need the tools to make this content creation and content repurpose to make it much easier. It also makes it much easier for people to disseminate and distribute that content. So if we have an isolated L&D department somewhere that is struggling to get funding and is trying in the old kind school of production to create some big monolithic projects that we roll them out once a year and try to train our employees, this will not work anymore. What we need is a mindset of learning as infrastructure in the business, decentralized, that can happen anywhere, anytime, where we give people the tools and we show them how to use the tools so that they can create their own cheap and dirty, but very quick and very effective and very relevant courses on the field, out there, wherever they interact with the relevant trainees, and roll it out. So this is like just-in-time manufacturing, but for learning. You create that much learning that you need at the right place, and you give it to the right people, and it might be replaced and repurposed quite easy. And we see that organizations who tend to follow that route, they're much faster to respond to customer needs, to employee needs, to internal needs, and learning becomes just a layer and always on process as part of how they continue to develop their work. Instead of creating some kind of documentation or anything else, you create some learning environments, and you roll them out.
There's a couple of things to unpack in that. I think you talk about basically creating a culture of learning, but also the modern way of working now is we're used to everything on demand. We're used to streaming things. We're used to things everything being instant, and anything that takes longer than instant is almost too long in the modern world of work. And I think it's a difficult thing to be able to plug that gap because, as you say, some of the older ways of doing things do take an awful long time to implement. By the time you implement it, that learning material is obsolete or isn't quite fit for purpose. So what are some of the things you've done at LearnWorlds then to plug that instantaneous gap, to make sure that if they go with a solution like yourselves or other platforms that offer a similar kind of service, that we're able to plug the gap of instantaneity, of being able to get that content out quicker? Have you been able to bridge that?
Yeah, that's something that we've been working for the past for more than 10 years now. Like, first of all, we were seeing that the old way of creating courses, the natural way that we have been taught at school, you go out and you create a 50-minute video, which is effectively a PowerPoint presentation, and you transform that into video, and then you roll it out, and after 5 minutes, people are dead. It's death by PowerPoint. So it's very easy to guide people to say, guys, don't do that. Let's create micro-learning. Let's create small videos that are 3 to 5 minutes long. It's very easy for you to create. You don't need any video, any studio production or anything else. You can just take out your iPhone, you record a small video, or you record a quick and dirty screencast. You can add a couple of layers on top, and you can add, now it's super easy to add subtitles, to add titles, to do some kind of post-processing, and then you roll it out. And if after 1 month it's you need to update something, you just throw it out. You replace that single video, not the entire thing that you have built, and then you can keep working on top. So I like what we have done in our platform. We have created a suite of authoring tools that are also AI powered, that allow people to create content massively, smartly, and with an instructional design assistant by your side, because not every knowledge worker understands these kinds of concepts, and there is huge value in instructional design. So how can we get somebody who knows their work, they know what they're doing, whether they're working in customer support, customer success, product marketing, finance, whatever, they know their stuff, but they're not natural born teachers. Can we get them to very easily unload their knowledge within an authoring environment, and with some smart AI instructional design by the side, helping them create amazing interactive micro-learning units, whether video, audio, multimedia, to adapt to different kinds of learning styles, repurpose it, even translate it in different languages. Super easy now with AI, almost trivial, and roll out a super interactive and engaging experience that the employees or the workers or the trainees can consume, not necessarily sitting in front of a desktop computer like they would do 30 years ago, but they can consume on their mobile device while they're commuting, sitting in a sofa. At some point, they might want to play a bit with some multiple choice questions. On the next, they might want to hear it like a podcast and have a narrative because they are in the metro, in the subway, or whatever. So allowing this wealth of an easy authoring, of unpacking this knowledge and unloading this knowledge into a training system, and then smart delivery of that knowledge, it's something that that LearnWorlds excels in empowering. And it's not just us. This is the trend. This is what people have to do. You have to create smart micro interactions, super engaging, super interesting, easy to repurpose. You can do some great work now, the instructional design aspect, but having an AI assistant on your side will help you create the best possible version of your online course, even if you have zero knowledge about instructional design. That's not to take away from the value that an instructional designer can bring in a business, but most businesses cannot afford to have an instructional design team or to have an L&D separate department. Or even if they have, how can we empower these 3 people that work in the L&D of an SME business to not just create 5 modules per week, but 55 modules per week, and be very fast in the quantity and but also the quality of the products that they roll out to their audience.
Let's think about that for a moment then. So at the moment, when you look at companies today, where do you see the biggest gaps appearing in how they approach learning and development? Is it mainly that speed element you talked about? Because in your introduction, you talked about why learning can be the growth lever that most companies fail to pull. So I wonder if there's some common pitfalls that you see in HR and L&D teams kind of falling into. Is a little bit related to that ability to create instant training, the ability to empower teams that may or may not be L&D professionals, but because it's so easy, you make the platform so easy that anyone in any division can kind of start creating instantaneous modules. Is that, tell me a little bit more about how you see it becoming that growth lever?
The first reaction of a business that understands at some point that they need some kind of training is to go out and buy something that is ready off the shelf. So they go out, they find the subscription, a library, and there's some value out there. I think we've all been through courses like that, and for some pieces they might be just good enough. But this is already stale. It's already obsolete by the time you have added it into the company. So this is where the value starts to become apparent, when this becomes an operating system, an always on state of mind for the business, and you can create this kind of training. And we've seen businesses that once they start creating the training, it becomes kind of a habit. First of all, you demystify that. You see that, okay, it's not rocket science. I can create something, and it's not like super polished, but users found value in that. So then you start more and create more. So instead of the kind of product that we create, online courses, it's a super interesting new type of media. It's like people used to create ebooks 20 or 30 years ago. Now they create online courses, and they can be super interesting, packed with knowledge. They can have multimedia in them. They can have assessments. They can have certificates. They can have very smart simulations and everything else. So it becomes super interesting once you have people that are see that they can create these kinds of things and then start disseminating them and measuring them and creating new kind of value. And what is when we're talking about growth, this is where I guess also our DNA, starting first coming from a creator background, where our first customers used to create and sell online courses. This is where the monetization aspects becomes very, very interesting, because once you have these products, you start thinking a bit more creatively about what this means. I have a software or a service. I'm creating some kind of knowledge module, some kind of training, a certification for my customers. But what if I start selling that? What if instead of a cost center, this becomes a profit center? Okay, I can give the free version of my course, but what if I have a premium version of my course, and then you can become the LearnWorlds expert and you pay X amount of money, whatever the money is. It's not important, but you start adding a value, a price point, some kind of value to that kind of course. And what if I can create some content and I can start selling that training content to some of my competitors who don't have the capacity to create that kind of content? So we've seen this is an interesting evolution we've seen through our platform. We had many customers in the beginning that were coming to us and saying, like, you are a great platform for creating and selling online courses. We're not interested in selling. Can we just use your platform for our internal training? We said, yeah, by all means. Most of these customers, after 6 months, they're coming back to us saying, hey, we're thinking about selling now. can you tell us a bit more about that? And this is like probably it's not relevant to everyone, but once you start thinking like that, or once you see the affordances, being able to disseminate and distribute your content, you start having different kinds of lines in your budget, and it's not just the money that you are asking for from your CEO or whatever. It's also what you are bringing back from the to the business. And I can tell you that another thing for most of our customers who have started creating online courses, their best ever lead magnets, the ways to capture new leads for their business, is by offering free online courses, which is something that it doesn't come to an L&D expert. This is marketing thinking. We're not accustomed to something like that. But once you say, okay, I'm offering free training to my potential customers, it's not salesy. I'm educating them. I'm sharing some knowledge, and people crave to do that. People, we are natural born learners. That's the only thing that we do from the day that we are born. That's probably the only human superpower. So people really like to consume learning, especially obviously if it's packaged in a nice, interesting, engaging, interactive way.
I love that idea, the natural born learners. That's nice. I'm gonna remember that one. So one thing you've been quite clear about, you talked about introducing and implementing AI to make the system and the process better and more effective and easier as well to introduce other tools. It sounds to me, and I'm reading between the lines here, that you offer quite an experiential opportunity as well. As you said, it's not just creating the old school course, or which is like death by PowerPoint, but actually you can introduce different ways of doing things, different ways to learn. From your perspective, what does modern learning look like?
Modern learning, first of all, it is fast. It has to be fast. It has to be contextual. It has to be always on. We used to talk about lifelong learning, and we used to talk about, I don't know, there were some research reports about a person having to go through like 4 to 7 career changes throughout their lifetime. We would be lucky if we go through a career change every other year now with what's happening with AI out there. So I think this is my definition, I guess, to put it in a nutshell, of modern learning, is that it has to be fast and it has to be relevant. Which also means, incidentally, like as a corollary, that it has to happen in situ from the people who have the knowledge. So the L&D department or function or role, it's not about packaging, creating, and being the single authority of creating content, but it's mostly for me about how we empower the people who have the knowledge in their individual roles, wherever they may sit, to create knowledge products and disseminate these knowledge products, whatever this may be. It might be a flyer, it might be a short video, it might be a little funny thing that captures the attention of the intended audience. And I think AI is an amazing tool, especially for that. I don't believe that it will replace L&D function or trainers or creators, but the creators or trainers will be probably replaced by a peer of theirs that is using also AI and is doing their work 10 times more efficiently, and they produces 10 times more content. So now with these kinds of tools, it's super easy to repurpose video into text into another kind of text, to chop it up, to merge it, to mix it, and to create all these different narratives, things that were extremely expensive in the past and time consuming. Now you can do it. You can do it so much faster. So actually, there is zero pretext, zero reasons for not doing that, because now it's easy. Platforms like LearnWorlds exist. We have so much more knowledge and guidance about how to do that, and we know that it works in an organizational settings. So we need, in the era of AI, we will need more learning rather than less. Content is becoming a commodity. Skills are commoditized and becoming obsolete very fast. So we need to keep learning. We are the only ones who can do it as a species, up until what we know. So we will need more of them, and we need to be in an always-on mentality mode about creating and consuming learning.
HR leaders I'm Nick Day, host of this podcast, but also founder of JGA Recruitment Group. And here's what I hear every week from top HR leaders. They say, Nick, we can't find the talent. It's our biggest challenge. And when we do, we can't retain them. Well, that's where we come in. At JGA, we specialize in HR recruitment and only HR recruitment. From executive search assignments placing CHROs to contingency hires finding HR pros to global HR transformational contract placements and every people role in between. Across every vertical and at every single level, we know where the top people are, what motivates them, and most importantly, how to get them excited about your opportunity, even if they're not actively looking. With engagement rates over 90%, we don't rely on job boards. We rely on relationships. We place fast, we place right, and we do it in a way that reflects your brand, your values, and your goals. So if you're building a strategic HR function, please don't leave it to chance. Visit jjrecruitment.com or reach out to me directly and let's build the future of work together. I think you raised some really interesting points. Now, don't quote me on the statistics, but it was something along the lines of from the World Economic Forum, I think by the end of 2026, they said we may lose 57 million positions that exist right now, but actually, well, then they'll be displaced by 85 million new ones, which are in this new world of AI. So actually, we're in a net positive in terms of new positions being available. So very much it's not replacing, but it is evolving the world of work that we're working in. We have to learn to work with it. We have to adjust the kind of things that we do, but the human side of learning design is absolutely going to remain critical. I know that within the LearnWorlds platform, you've been able to bridge between creators and enterprises, which I know is quite unique. So tell me how your platform it does bridge those two different worlds.
Yeah, like as I said before, we started as a creator platform. We started as a kind of a Shopify for online courses, a white label platform that would allow any creator, any expert to create their own online courses, to have their own school, academy, whatever you may call it, and start selling their courses. So we started empowering, discovering, learning from our customers and discovering almost a new business model every other day. So, initially a few years ago, people were just selling online courses as a one-off model. This is what people knew. That was the model of Udemy. That was the model of Coursera, of all these things. And then we started creating bundles of online courses. And then we started creating subscriptions and memberships models. And then instead of the just of only packaged recorded video, we started having live courses and webinars. And then COVID came along and all this multiplied and everybody had something to share. We really believe that everyone on the planet knows something that another person somewhere else needs to know. So how can we just bridge those two together and help them do that? In the process, as we were helping bigger and bigger organizations, we also had to become a super accomplished LMS, learning management system, that can cater to all these different models, that can handle certifications, qualifications, super detailed reports so that you know every one of your students, what they do in within their school, within their training, so that you can evaluate the quality of your courses. So we managed to become a super efficient and a super effective knowledge commerce platform where you go out and you can sell whatever you have, and also a very accomplished LMS. And what really sets us apart is that we focused a lot on the learner experience. Most traditional LMS systems, and I don't want to throw shade at anyone because there are some great platforms out there, most of them were there to keep HR happy. For HR to have their records, to put it all in their system and to say, okay, Nick has been trained this year for KYC, AML, whatever is the mandate of the year. But that's not how people learn. That's not why you learn. If you ask something like that from a millennial, to go sit in front of a screen for 1 hour, complete a few checkboxes, they will jump out of the window. You need something that is engaging, interactive. This is where we had to focus a lot as we were creating courses to be sellable. And it seems, it's incidentally or not, when you have great interactive and engaging online courses, really people love to spend time in them. obviously have to be well crafted and well created, but this is the kind of experience that we are emulating. So we're kind of bringing the energy and of the creator economy, and the flair and the passion and the creativity and the user experience to the enterprise learning that needs rigor, but also has to be refreshed and has to be enriched with all these new tools and all these new affordances. And this is a great balance that we are seeing.
And myself included, I think COVID was an interesting time where you realize when people have more time to be able to do these things, lift their heads up, a lot of people do revert to what we want to learn next. I've done a lot of qualifications. You think, you know what, we have this kind of internal thirst and yearning to want to learn something else, to broaden our horizons, to have a new skill. And it seems to be something that's always been ever present in the human psyche. So I can see why this kind of platform, this kind of process now is really, if you get the experience right, why it can be really, really fulfilling and interesting from my lens, which of course is as a recruitment CEO. I know that a lot of people will leave current employers because they don't feel like they're being invested in. They don't feel like they're progressing. They feel like they've hit a ceiling, not necessarily in terms of promotion, but in terms of their learning journey. So I can see firsthand how important this is for HR people to consider, but also for organizations to consider. If you're not investing in your teams, if you're not helping them to get further ahead with their learning, they will start looking elsewhere to find that journey somewhere else. So I think there's a really good value here, that hidden cost we mentioned at the start, in terms of if you invest in this space, you'll find your ability to attract top talent improves and your ability to retain top talent improves. Have you seen some of those statistics from your side of the things as well, some of the analytics that you look at? Have you seen some really good tangible results that you've been able to feed back to employers?
Yes. And always we try to understand what our customers are optimizing for, what is the ROI that they're trying to see, and we try to get the signals in different businesses. Obviously, there are different things, like course selling businesses, they optimize for revenue. Customer application, they might optimize for engagement or for activation, but we always try to see that. From anecdotal discussions with customers especially that are doing internal training, this quality of the service to be provided, this investment in the employees is really, it has now to be on a different level. People understand that they value the employers who really invest in them. It's not even training, because training, it's like in the let's say the old kind of mentality, it's something that you finish university, school, whatever, and then you say, okay, that's that. But this has to be an always on mode. We really believe that, and like our motto here at Learning is that we are all getting better every single day. This is what we have to do as professionals, as people, as partners, as colleagues. It's super important. And the L&D function, not in the old stale way, but in a disseminated, always on way. It's really the best investment that any company, any knowledge-based company that respects itself, its customers, and its employees has to do. As we said, the human resources are, this is the rocket, the engine of the rocket. So you have to give it fuel and knowledge, attention and guidance and coaching. This is the fuel for that kind of engine.
Yeah, I do agree. I think we need to, the organizations that establish a culture of learning, a coaching culture of learning, I should probably say, really do prosper and really do very well in the modern world of work. And I can absolutely see why it's worth making that investment. If we're thinking about future proofing through learning, though, what do you could leave HR and L&D professionals that are listening to this right now with one key message about how to future proof their organizations through learning. What would that be?
For me, it's important to, when it comes to the employees, the most important stuff is to cultivate the metacognitive abilities, understanding when and what you have to learn. So having this always on mentality, and because learning without an objective, it's something that doesn't end, or it's something that you cannot put into practice. You cannot measure. So being able to create this, cultivate these metacognitive abilities of what needs to be learned and how to go about it and how to do it, this is going to be increasingly more important, and especially in the era of AI that creates this kind of disconnect between the effort that I have to put in and what I perceive that I know, or I think that I know. It's so easy to be very superficial because I just asked something and I got back a question, so I think I know, but in practice I don't know. I cannot put it into practice, or I might be, I don't know, on Bloom level 1 and be light years away from really understanding and being able to put in practice something that I learned. So there are lots of things right now out there that are passing as learning. I play a quiz and I'm supposed to have learned Chinese. My daughter is learning Korean right now. With some quizzes. Has she learned Korean? No, she just parrots 6 words. So, which is fun. It's amazing. I totally prefer that to spending time on a game or something like that. But we need to understand what is learning, and that needs direction, that needs framework, that needs having a purpose, that needs having peers. Perhaps learning is an amazing team sport. It's not something that happens in isolation. So in the era of AI, because people are coming and say, why do we need an online course? I can just start asking ChatGPT and it can guide me. Really? Yes. Can you do it? Or for some things, yes, but for others, would you trust it to be your guide, your advisor? So this is something that organizations need to be aware of, and need to have the understanding and give a direction also to their employees and to all the functions, so that we understand where learning fits and how it happens. So it will not happen automatically, even. And if, on the contrary, the more abundant the information out there, and we just swim on the surface, deep learning and meaningful learning is more difficult to obtain. So we have to think about how we introduce it in an organization, or even for ourselves, how to direct our learning. And these metacognitive abilities, I believe, are at the premium, and this will be even more important for the future employees.
I agree. Well, listen, we're going to open the vault in just a moment. I wonder if you can just tell us a little bit more about LearnWorlds specifically, because some things that people, our listeners, may not know. You've got over 11,000 customers worldwide. There are a lot of HR leaders out there, CHROs, are really keen on launching their own academies and things like that. I know you have a solution for academy learning. I know also you have an enterprise LMS platform. So it's not just about, as you said, the courses you can market and sell. Actually, you have a really good enterprise level LMS. So for people that want to find out more, but been really intrigued by what you've had to say today, tell us a little bit more what they can find on the website and some of the services you provide.
Yes, sure. So people can just head over to our website, learnworlds.com. We are a super easy platform to use. So we offer a free trial. Everybody can just create a free trial, no credit cards, no strings attached, and they can start playing around, they can create amazing courses, and they can see the full functionality. Obviously, our team is available to talk to them about individual needs, and to see how we are making organizations, both small and some of the biggest organizations in the world, run with online courses. Regardless of whether you want to train a small team of 5 or 50 people, or you want to launch and monetize courses on a massive scale. Right now, the biggest LearnWorlds school has 950,000 users. So it's a massive school that gets a few million of revenue every year. But we can also adapt to a small SME that just wants to launch a quick and easy course to train 30 employees, resellers, affiliates, or whatever. So we're pretty flexible. Come and have a look at what we're offering, and we'll be happy to help you out and show you how some of our customers are succeeding in the learning space.
I think one of the things I love about it, I mean this very honestly and transparently, is the fact that it keeps the learning in house. sometimes the best trainers are the people in the organization, but as you say, they're not confident at training. So we end up going external. You spend money on external providers. They come and realize they don't quite get your culture. They don't quite deliver what you think in the way you wanted it. And you realize the talent was always internal to deliver that, but they didn't have the mechanism or the infrastructure or the technology to be able to deliver it. Although, as you said, that they're nervous or whatever. But this gives you that structure, that infrastructure to do it in-house, keep it in-house, and really create that culture of learning at the same time, which I think is really, really wonderful.
If I may add here, for lots of organizations, we have been their first LMS, because LMS is like a daunting thing. You think about like a super expensive contract, and in some cases, LMSs are like that, or with some kind of software that is very heavy. It needs like a team of 5 to set up and run. And unfortunately, that used to be the way. But with platforms like LearnWorlds now, a single person, I've seen CEOs launching courses for their businesses in a couple of days, or like a really small function, a really small team go out and create online courses. So this is I know that the term has been overused. It's kind of a democratization of learning and training. You don't need to be an expert. And if you're an expert, we can help you be super productive. But if you're not an expert, you just know your stuff, we have the way to help you package that knowledge and share that knowledge and profit from that knowledge, whether in leads, resources, money, reputation, customer satisfaction, or whatever.
Amazing. Well, let's open the HR L&D Vault. So 3 short, sharp questions for you. I'm quite interested in this first one here, which is one piece of advice you'd give to HR or L&D leaders about embedding learning into their culture.
They have to be fast, they have to be flexible, they have to be in context, and it has to be always on. Difficult situation, but I hope we can get it.
Yeah, no, I love that. It's definitely come through today's show. One thing you've learned personally about leadership that has shaped how you've run and grown and scaled LearnWorlds.
The metacognitive abilities are extremely important. Understanding my shortcomings, and I can assure you there are lots of them. As we grow business, we started from a small bootstrap business, like 3 co-founders, and now we run an organization with close to more than 170 people. So really, seeing yourself in the mirror, or having your co-founders, hold the mirror in front of you to see what is missing, so that you know what you can improve. If you don't know the shortcomings, you will not be able to improve. So that requires a strong stomach, but it's the only way to keep improving.
I love that. And it means you're always on and you're always learning yourself, which is, as you said, really, really, really important. So my last question is, what's one book or resource or quote or something in your life that's really inspired you during the course of your career?
I think it's what we have been saying in LearnWorlds since 2014, getting better every single day. And that's something that I also try to implement in whatever I do. Cleaning my office, trying to keep it neat. Doing some physical training or anything else. And also on a business level, this compounding effect of having small incremental improvements, of like 0.5% or 100%, that day after day after day after day, they can create something incredible. That's something that I try to keep. I know it's hard, but we keep trying.
It's the theory of marginal gains. Two things you might like here. One's an acronym that someone told me once, which is FAIL, which stands for first attempt in learning, which I always love. So we never fail. It's our first attempt at learning something. And we don't win and lose. We win and learn. Every time we don't succeed in something, it's a chance for us to discover why. So I like both of those, and something I teach to my team. So I thought it was nice to finish on a learning acronym. Panos Siozos, thank you so much. You're, of course, CEO and co-founder of LearnWorlds. For those who want to find out more about the LMS, the enterprise level, the courses, as you said, you can completely sign up for free, test this thing out. You can go to learnworlds.com. There's a link directly in today's show notes. So please do click through. You can have a look for yourself. And there's loads of resources. I said 11,000 customers already using the platform. So do take a look. And also, thank you very much for joining me today, Panos, on the HR L&D podcast. I think what we've taken away today is learning has changed. It needs to be experiential. It needs to be quick. We need to be on all the time. We need to create HR cultures which are really promoting continuous learning. And there are so many hidden benefits to doing that. Better attrition, your better ability to attract staff, to retain our staff, to keep them happy and productive. We know a happy workforce is a productive workforce. So many hidden benefits there as well. I think we can really, as I said, use that as a growth lever to transform both people and businesses within the community. So thank you ever so much for that. And of course, if you're interested in finding out more, do go to that website, but also do remember to click subscribe, click follow, and share this episode with your HR colleagues and friends. And together, we can really raise the profile of learning and development, people management, and human resources worldwide. Panos, thank you ever so much for joining me today on the HR L&D podcast.
Thanks, Nick.
Global teams are more connected than ever, but managing payroll, HR, and IT can still feel fragmented. Deel simplifies global work with one platform that keeps everything running smoothly. No compliance guesswork, no third-party payroll, just seamless operations backed by 24/7 expert support. That's why over 35,000 companies trust Deel to handle their global workforce. Visit deel.com/nickday to see how Deel can help. That's DEEL.com/NICKDAY. Deel, your forever people platform.